Let's start with what's going on with Notre Dame. Pete Pavakwa goes on the Dan Patrick Show. Obviously knows that interview is going to go viral, national, etc. Again, great hair and makeup team on the Notre Dame side, getting Pete Pavakwa all makeuped up. Interesting fake Zoom background. It looked like bleachers with random numbers. Probably would have gone with just the normal leather chair office setting, but interesting fake background on the Zoom. That'll do it for this portion of the critiquing the interior and hair and makeup situation on the Notre Dame AD. In all seriousness, let's talk about the interview. Obviously, Notre Dame AD's pissed off. Notre Dame starts the season 0-2. Then they win 10 straight. They get left out of the college football playoff. His demeanor was pretty even-keeled throughout the interview. I didn't get a lot of answers. Didn't expect Dan to ask many tough questions, and he certainly did not. He clearly has a relationship with Notre Dame. He did a show live from South Bend, live from Notre Dame's campus before the USC game this year. There's a relationship there that he probably didn't want to strain. He didn't push back at all in this interview, which was surprising because Dan Patrick's usually a guy who's, he's all right to push back on some stuff. Didn't push back at all. It was a total puff piece of an interview for Notre Dame. I was kind of disappointed in that. What are you going to do? There's obviously a relationship there that he doesn't want to strain. Basically, there were a couple things that came up. First of all, why he was mad. Why he was mad about the process. I'm talking about Pete Pavakwa, the Notre Dame guy, Notre Dame AD. And then also why Notre Dame decided to not play in a bowl game. We can just start there briefly. His explanation for Notre Dame not playing in a bowl game was that Marcus Freeman and the team and the AD and a bunch of folks were in one room watching the final college football playoff rankings release show. And Notre Dame wasn't selected, obviously, to play in the playoff. And Marcus Freeman met with team captains on Notre Dame's side, and they basically said, we don't want to play in a bowl game. Pavakwa went on to say, he basically said without saying that Jeremiah Love, he named them by name, Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, Eli Raridan, who's the fabulous tight end, and a couple other guys would not have played in the game. Okay, that's obvious. And these bowl games are becoming, less meaningful to the programs who feel like they want to be in the playoff. I like that Washington and Boise State are playing this weekend in LA. Like, I love meaningless bowl games. And I say meaningless with all due respect. Like, I love bowl games. Like, give me random, give me Boston College Northwestern at Yankee Stadium. I will watch that every day of the week. Like, I get it. I'm obsessed with the sport. I love college football. But I still think that there's pride. There's 15 extra practices. Like, if you're Notre Dame, if you're those players, obviously the star players, Jeremiah Love, Price, the backup running back, Raridan, the tight end. Like, I get those guys wanting to sit out if it's not a playoff setting. Like, I'm not even criticizing them for that because they want to be healthy for the NFL draft. They don't want to pop an Achilles or tear an ACL right before they're about to be a first-round pick. Like, I get that if it's not a playoff. That being said, for the vast majority of the Notre Dame team, 15 practices and a free trip to Florida. Let's just say they would have played in like the Citrus Bowl or something. Like, that's awesome for you. That's so good for you as a player to develop 15 more practices with your teammates, to take a free week-long trip to Florida, go to Disney World, play in a bowl game. Like, that should mean something to the players, and I think it does mean something to a lot of them. I just think the team captains, like when Pete Pavakwa said he sat down with Marcus Freeman, sat down with the team captains. All right, yeah, if you sit down with like 3 team captains and they're all going to be NFL draft picks and they don't want to risk an Achilles pop in a air quotes meaningless bowl game, that's one thing. But what about the vast majority of the team? Like, I just hope that those 3 guys, those 4 guys, whomever Freeman sat down with, again, Pete Pavakwa word for word said it was the captains who he sat down with. Like, I hope that those guys, spoke with the rest of the team, because it would be a huge bummer for basically anyone else on the team who's not going to be a high draft pick this year to miss out on that game. What about CJ Carr, your freshman QB? Like, he's a freshman. He took some serious lumps this year, right? Like, that guy needs more reps. Like, are you afraid to play Vandy in the Citrus Bowl, for example? Like, what about, dude, shout out to Texas and Michigan. Texas is a much better team than Michigan. Shout out to Texas and Michigan. Like, Texas, talk about a team that was totally screwed over by the playoff system. Like, they are significantly better than Notre Dame. They've proved that on the field time and time again this year with 3 top 15 wins. Notre Dame's best win is against USC by 10. I was also going back to Notre Dame's schedule this year. So they obviously lost to Miami and A&M to start the season. They beat Purdue 56-30. Yo, man, I was in person for Indiana-Purdue a couple weeks ago, and Indiana's obviously a much better team than Notre Dame. They beat Purdue 56-3, not 56-30, 56-3. You gonna hang your hat on like a 15-point win over Boston College, a 10-point win over USC? I mean, no one cares that you put 70 on Syracuse. They literally have a lacrosse player playing quarterback. No one cares that you beat Stanford. Stanford, it's a throwaway year with an interim coach. Like, you lost against the only 2 good teams you played. And you didn't even, like, if you would have blown out USC by 40, okay, maybe. But, like, dude, when you lose against the only 2 respectable teams you play, you need to win with style points, not give up 30 to Purdue, not win by 10 over USC. Like, look at Texas. Texas lost to Ohio State and Georgia and Florida, sure. They hammered Vandy. I was there in person. They hammered Oklahoma. I was there in person. They hammered Texas A&M in the second half of that game to win by double digits. That's a real team with a real resume. Like, Notre Dame has no resume to hang its hat on. It's childish, man. Apparently, Ivan Maisel, longtime legendary college football writer, met him before at the Rose Bowl scrum in 2015. Apparently, he was going to do a book on Frank Lee. So let me make sure I get this right. Who was a longtime Notre Dame coach. And, by the way, died in Portland, Oregon. Okay. Notre Dame coach. And he was going to do wrote a book on him and was going to speak at Notre Dame's campus. And Notre Dame is disallowing Ivan Maisel from speaking on campus because he was a member of the College Football Playoff Committee this year. Like, and to get direct with what Pete Bavacqua was saying, he was basically like, hey, we're not thrilled with the process. He did say, to his credit, we lost Miami. We understand we lost Miami. We're not thrilled. We're not happy with the process. We're looking for answers. Dude, the process was that you lost to Miami on the football field. The process was that you lost to A&M on the football field. That's the process. You don't have any good wins. And by the way, you're not going to have any good wins next year. Listen to Notre Dame's schedule next year. Wisconsin at Lambeau, Sunday, September 6th. That's pretty sweet. I would love to go to that game. Wisconsin at Lambeau, the opener, Sunday, September 6th. Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Navy. That's their schedule until November. They don't play a respectable team until November, when finally, on November 7th, they play Notre Dame. Pardon me, they play Miami. Miami plays Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium, November 7th. Boston College, SMU, Syracuse, Stanford, USC. Like, maybe SMU's ranked, maybe USC's ranked. They might play 3 ranked teams next year. I mean, you got to start scheduling tougher teams, man. Like, I can see now, I did a thing about how Notre Dame should join the ACC and they wouldn't have a problem because they could literally play their way in automatically by, winning a conference, which I still stand by. The reason I can see that they don't want to join the ACC beyond the $50 million NBC deal, again, I think that's not easy to navigate, but you can navigate around that. Like, I think they could talk with Jim Phillips and be like, we'll join the conference but keep our TV deal with it, and I think the ACC would still welcome them in. The reason they don't want to do that is because look at that freaking schedule. That is a joke of a schedule. That's why they don't want to do it, because they want to cherry pick mid-ACC teams and mid-Big Ten teams for their schedule. And by the way, USC, I think Lincoln Riley's trying to back out of that game. That's been the report anyway, that Lincoln Riley's trying to back out of the USC-Notre Dame rivalry. They might not even play USC. Yo, man. No. So when people say Notre Dame's not a college football playoff team, Pete, you're the AD. You can schedule the games. That's why. You're playing 1 or 2 respectable teams a year. This year you played 2 and you lost to both of them.